July 5th, new moon time, 5:58 p.m. Welcome, everybody. How are you doing? This is G. We're going to take a walk through the July new moon. And we have already had conversations about this new moon at the end of May. We were talking about the July new moon, which is crazy, but not really. Interesting thing about the new moons of June and July. They have been in conjunction, meaning partnered up with, right next to the sun and the moon, right next to fixed stars, prevalent, strong, powerful fixed stars. And so, yes, this June new moon, July 5th, 2024, manifestation time to set intentions, time to, focus and bring into your world what you are shooting for those stars. That is what new moons are all about. And so the moon is highlighted here. The moon is drawn on the chart. July 5th, 2024, the moon will be the ruler of this new moon, right? You're hearing a common word there, the moon. How many times did I say moon, right? It's a new moon, and the moon is the ruler. Each new moon has a ruler, and it all depends on what sign the new moon is in. So this new moon, if the moon is the ruler, what sign is this new moon going to be in? Each month, the new moons are in the same sign. Each month, the full moons are. So there's a cycle. There's a pattern. Yes, that's astrology. And that's really all it is the study of the planetary cycles, but the meanings, the keywords, the significance, because, well, in my opinion, planets have personality. So there it is. There is your new moon in Cancer. What makes the new moons powerful? The sun, masculine energy. So when you have the sun and the feminine, when they come together. Yeah, right? Just like in us humans, right? When that masculine and feminine energy meet, when they are literally what we call conjunct, they are together and they're exact. 14 degrees, 23 minutes, new moon in the sign of Cancer. And because the moon rules the sign of Cancer, you see how it's a big deal. It's the new moon happening in the sign of its rulership. What do we associate with the moon? Well, it's the cycles of a lot of things, the ebb and flows on the planet, the planetary body, the oceans flows, right? The highs and the lows and the tides on the planet. We see that with the water. And water is a key word when you think moon. Water is a great conductor of energy. So it literally can hold memory. And when we think of memory, we think of the past. So many times you'll hear me say the moon and we'll think history, ancestry, my childhood, but specifically my home life. The moon's all about nurturing and feelings and emotions. So we think mom. How was my mom? Who am I as a mom? Even if I'm a male, what are my mother tendencies? Do I nurture myself? Was I nurtured as a child? What is my mother wound? Do I have a mother wound? There's lots of different definitions. They're very personal for the way somebody could say, if I had a mother wound, it would be fill in the blank. Whether you're male or female or however it is you identify, fill in the blank, right? To some degree, it seems like in some way, everybody has this mother wound because it can also be the ancestral wounds. And I know on the channel, we've got some subscribers where there's a lot of things with ancestry, a lot of history, and a lot of the recall. Even if it's not like an intellectual recall, there's the emotions involved with it. And for some, it's like a mystery because they're like, where is this coming from? And it's shit from the past. So if it's ancestry, lineage, where my people are from, where's the motherland from, right? There's, it's that cultural thing. We look back within our own society and we ask, we observe the different cultures within societies, and we see whether it's their own history, the wrongs, the rights, the accomplishments, the successes, the positive traits, the vices, the virtues. We all have it. That's what makes us human. Mom and family and home are not the only words associated with Cancer and ancestry and feelings, but it can also be women because it's feminine energy, right? Associated with women, but also the public, like literally the public. So many times, we've seen people's chart, especially people who are public figures who will have prominent moon energy placements in their chart, especially moon and Jupiter, right? Or moon in the ninth house, or a combination of Jupiter and the moon conjunct. When we think of Cancer and we think of home and we think of families, but we think of the public, we can also look to the physical home, literally the sticks and the bricks, like where we live. And I think we got a visitor. I hear Taffy because I heard the door open, and I got that little friendly rub up against my not so great leg. And she's got this thing. She goes right to that leg and just rubs her butt. Did you hear her? Well, come on up then. Hold on. Let me back it up and get her butt up here. Come on. It's Taffy time. Say, it's Taffy time. Okay, you moose. Where you going? All right. So let me get all the long hair out of the way. I got to get this stuff cut. My God. So the sticks and the bricks in the home. So having a new moon in Cancer energy that talks about homes, literally, we think of housing, right? And when we're young, there's a connection with emotions and feeling and stability, emotional stability. How was your home life? Even if you had a great sticks and the bricks, but what was the structure and the family setup and the routines or lack of structure within the home? Or maybe there was a whole shitload of structure, over structured, and not a whole lot of nurturing, right? That whole nature versus nurture, that whole, you know, Cancer energy is super, super sensitive in the way that it's like it's empathic energy. So it's, when we talk about like that mom's intuition stuff, like Cancer energy, the mom just knows. It goes even beyond a feeling of something, because a feeling, I can be angry, I can be happy. These are like emotions that we are like experiencing. Cancer energy can go to a deeper level because there's the history involved, right? And it's the moon, and the moon is like a mirror, they say. It reflects back to us of who we are. It reflects back to us the history and what we've been through. So there's many times thoughts about home and family. And because Venus is here, we're thinking about who and what we value. Now, the other part connected to Venus is values as in dollar signs too, not just values as in that person is valuable. I love that person, or I love my mom, or, a woman's worth, or a woman's sense of self-worth, or do I value, that word nature or the word nurture and nurturing, and how important is that in someone's life? But yeah, when the moon is when Venus is in Cancer energy, there's a whole lot of it's like compounded energy of feminine energy, because Venus is feminine and the moon is feminine. Okay. Now, the interesting thing, of course, at the new moon, it's a time of setting the intentions because of this power to create, the masculine and the feminine coming together, highlighting values. And values are doubly emphasized here because of the degree of this new moon. Values comes up yet again. So when we think of values, it doesn't always got to be like I'm always talking about the dollar sign. I'm always talking about the economy. I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to make sure that there's the practical part of our world in here, because we are in such, it seems like, unstable times where we're not sure, we're still trying to figure out what the hell we just went through. We're still trying to figure out, okay, what's my path forward? And then we're like, wow, my future looks kind of, it might not look real hopeful. And that's, to be fair, because we just think of the status of the planet itself, Mother Earth, right? So Mother Earth, that word mom comes up yet again, and Venus rules, right? Because Venus rules Taurus, and Taurus is an earth sign. So Venus is pronounced yet again, and Taffy's going to give me her kitty licks, her kitty kisses, her kitty kisses. Yeah, 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 yeah. Say yes, 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 yes. Look at the ham. She just came to get this. She's like, just give it to me. Just give it to me, Jay. Right there on the top of the head. Okay. Right there. Oh, ho, ho, ho. The big tongue coming out. Yeah. The little rubs right under the chin. Yeah. Give the little rubs. You're distracting me, girly. I got to finish my job here. Okay. So money, and values. How about the values of homes? So we think interest rates for sure, right? Interest rates, because that's part of the problem with the housing market, at least for the United States. I can't really speak about other locations because my brain can only hold so much information, and all I can do is try to stay up to date and stay uh, as informed as I can in terms of that with the US. So we think of those values, but this is also women's values, the value of women, their role within society, and the value of that, right? Women valuing their own roles. But I think with Venus, something that's super important not to forget, because when I say words like the value of women, the woman's role, like there's a very traditional kind of setup with that. We all know what that is, right? The masculine goes to work. The woman should be barefoot and pregnant, making the food, making the babies, right, Taffy? Just give me the food. Just give me the food. Give me the rubs. But that's not all that a woman is capable of. And that's what this world, and that's what the challenge to that is. Like, oh my God, the women, what are they doing? They need to stay in their lane kind of mentality. And it's just a crock of shit, right? There's just certain things where we have to be flexible on. We have to be flexible and open minded. And with that, self worth. Self worth is a big key word, especially for females. Females just don't understand their power. And to some degrees, they do, but in a lot of ways, there's still a lot of learning or remembering. So, new moon in Cancer, 14 degrees, a new beginning based on your values. Question is, for you in your chart, where is the 14 degrees? What house is it in? You don't even have to have a planet there. You just have to find the 14 degrees of the sign of Cancer. So you start off by looking for the Cancer energy in your chart, and that's the sign of Cancer right there. Then you find 14 degrees. And chances are, even if you don't have a planet, this could be on a house cusp line for you. If you don't have your chart, well, then you should probably contact me below in the comments and say, gee, I don't have my chart. I would love it. Get all your birth digits, right? But first, comment to me and let me know that you want a chart. That is not a charge. The whole point of this channel is to get you more acclimated to understanding the patterns of your life, the energy of your life. And the way to do that is to see you yourself energetically on paper. By the way, these red lines, the ones that are going that way and the ones that are going that way, that's a T-square. Yeah. I just didn't do the crossover line for the T-square. Yep. That's a T-square. We have kind of a lot, and Black Moon Lilith is part of this T-square, along with being conjunct the South Node, so this is strong, and Sirius, Sirius, sits in the sign of Cancer at 14 degrees. So this new moon, let me pull these arrows away so you can see it. Oh, Venus's head is covering Sirius up, but you see the star? See that star right there? SIR, the S is kind of covered up. That's Sirius, SIRIUS, 14 degrees. This new moon in this chart, as the example chart, Sirius, the sun and the moon, 14 degrees in the 12th house. 12th house is the hidden. The 12th house is far away, meaning on the other side of the world, across the pond. The 12th house is a bit of a mystery sometimes. It can be hospitals, it can be institutions like governmental institutions. It can be Hollywood. It can be fictional and the silver screen. It can be sound, and we think music. We think people who are even possibly doctors or people of the cloth when we think 12th house. We think of psychology, psychologists, right? We think of the below the surface hidden past, stuff that we're not even aware of, but yet maybe in our dreams. 12th house is dreams. So it's confusing. It's dreamlike. You know, in movies, when they try to show you like history and they do that little thing where it makes it all kind of blurry, or when someone's kind of imagining something, it goes fuzzy and blurry, or when they try to depict that somebody's having a dream, they do that little, they make it look blurry, right? And that blurry is to depict the dream state. And it's spot on. The dream state is blurry. Even though you may be a person who can have really crystal clear dreams, the fact is you can wake up and be like, oh my God, I had this dream. But guess what? It was a dream. It doesn't mean that everything you saw will occur or be exactly as you saw in your dream. Is this just my brain having fun again? Or is this maybe possibly getting visions of the past, seeing things that happened that were from your past, your soul's history? Yeah. So that's going deep. Let's back up and let's go big. Sirius at 14 degrees. What do we know about Sirius? This new moon, the sun and the Cancer, the sun being an authority figure, being somebody in charge. Moon can also be an authority figure. It's feminine energy. So it's considered the brightest star. It is a spiritual star of immense power. Traditionally, it can offer fame and success. It can be turbulent and dangerous because it's in Cancer. Let me give you an example. Have you ever been in a crowd when that wave of the energy is with the public, that when you're in a crowd, literally, whether you're at a ball game or a concert, right? So if things are going good and you're all cheering together, it's wonderful. But have you ever seen photos or have you ever been involved when there's panic and people are just charging and people get trampled to death and die because pandemonium strikes, right? The fear, the effect of all the people together, it literally takes on its own identity, its own mentality. And it becomes like this moving force. So that's just a quick example of how it could be turbulent and dangerous. They consider this a star of magic with intense creativity. Intense creativity, which is fascinating because we already have strong creative tendencies here because we have the sun and the moon together. Because the sun and the moon are together. But if we're talking about Sirius, which we are talking about the addition of intense creative powers. Intense creative powers. You see, when it comes to manifesting, sometimes people will sit down and write their intentions or speak them out or do a ceremony or just do like a vision board type thing where it's using a little bit of the arts and crafts and you're putting pictures up there and you've got dates and you're like, these are my goals, but you're really putting some energy into it because you're taking the time and you're looking at pictures that really kind of represent how you want your future to be, how you want your life to be, whether that's work, whether it's family, whether it's romance, whatever that may be for you. And with that, you're invoking a feeling and feeling emotions. The moon, that's energy. That's literally like gasoline. That's literally like power. It's an energy source. So when you're making your intentions, this is one of the reasons why the new moons are so powerful, because it's the sun, which is my willpower. The sun is your willpower, and it's being combined. The willpower is being combined with the emotions. And so it's that combination, that masculine, that feminine energy coming together where we literally can make something happen. Okay. So Sirius all by itself, this fixed star, is this star that holds this intense creativity. There is a caution because there may be great risks and great rewards, but it does offer some deep yet hard earned understandings of the universe. So we can have our success, but there may have been a high price at the cost of that success, or whatever it was that you desired, whatever it was that you wanted. Venus will also be in the sign of Cancer for this new moon at 22 degrees. And desire is Venus's territory. So with this new moon coming up, we have desire, we have the emotions, which is the energy, which is the fuel to back up our willpower. So it's really strong, and these things can manifest. It doesn't mean I go to sleep on the new moon and I wake up and tomorrow there it is. No. But what it does mean is events start happening in your life. You start making different choices. Your mindset somehow changes because you were so focused, that energy and that intent, you were so focused on what your end goal is that you start making decisions. It may take 10 years. It may take 20 years. It could take longer. But the point is that the change occurs. It has to come from within. Cancer energy. The change has to come from within. And because this is the public, we, especially to those of us who live in the States, we have to find a way to unite and come together. We have to find a way to move forward as a country. We have to somehow understand that when we're looking at politics, when we're hearing about politics, it's politics. Be smart when you vote. You vote according to what is in your best interests, but make sure you are very clear on what truly is in your best interest, especially feminine energy, especially females, because there is a war on women. So with that said, let's look at some other things in this chart. I already pointed out the T-square, and the T-square, Black Moon Lilith, is conjunct the South Node. They're at 11 degrees. 11 degrees. At the opposite end of that, we have the North Node, and we have Salacia. When I first saw this, I at first felt like, okay, what the hell does that mean? Salacia represents confusion. She's like Neptune energy. It's the water. It's more emotions, Neptune energy. But it's fired up because it's in Aries. So we think war, we think soldiers, we think my rights, my individuality, my freedoms. The North Node, my appearance, Aries energy, right? But there's also the Sultan's victory here at 11 degrees, conjunct all of this. So there's 3 items: Sultan's victory, Salacia, and the North Node, which is your future, which is our future, which is where we're headed. The future of the war, the future of our freedoms, the future of our body and our appearance, the future of my very existence. I was talking with someone the other day during a reading, and we were discussing Aryan energy, how it's not just about being angry and fighting, because that's one of the very assertive and aggressive natures of Mars, who's the ruler of Aries, but it really comes down to your basic instincts. It's a very unbelievably super instinctual energy. That T-square energy, what I will say is that what we have seen so far is that when we have T-squares, something definitely occurs. And it's not something that easily occurs, but it's something that, because of this agitation and this irritation, because that's what you get when you have a square, it's 120 degrees away. It's cardinal energy. This is a cardinal T-square. Aries is cardinal, Cancer is cardinal, and so is Libra. So it's myself and my independence, my body and my ability and my right to exist and my freedoms and war and soldiers and all that unfun stuff, hoping and praying it ends, and maybe possibly the public being very vocal about enough of these damn wars already. But then also relationships, diplomacy, Libra energy. I've been paying a lot of attention to not just to politics, but foreign affairs lately, because Beau of the fifth column, again, is so freaking good with foreign affairs that it just clarifies things for me, because I'm just like, okay, how do I make sense of this? Well, the way things have been lining up, anytime there's like these big foreign affairs or people who have been like these diplomats, Libra energy has been super prominent each and every time. Each and every time. So diplomacy, definitely part of the Libran energy. Remember, Venus rules this. And it's about, well, I'm presenting that I want to be fair, right? But yet Venus is there to be the talker and to possibly use the law, because we see the scales and the checks and the balances. And we see, lawyer energy and courtrooms type, right, of stuff, and Lady Liberty and all that. So we see where the diplomacy can step in and say, can we meet somewhere in the middle? Can we be the bridge? As someone just said to me the other day, can we be the bridge? And I agree wholeheartedly. That's a good way of looking at Libran energy. Everybody says this is the scales of justice. Also look at Libran energy and that symbol as a bridge. Right. Yeah. So seeing it that way and thinking, oh my God, is there going to be an end to some of these wars? We hear of the treaties. We hear of people starving and crimes against humanity because of the intent and people stopping supplies. And this isn't about country and country, because I'm not trying to pick sides. This is about human life and valuing human life. And that's a big deal when it comes to this new moon. What does Venus value? That bond that occurs between a mother and the child, the breastfeeding, Cancer energy, the mom's ability to physically nurture, to feed that child. Big deal here. Okay. Because the new moon's at 14 degrees, we, of course, have to take a look at Sirius at 14, conjunct Vega. Sirius is retrograding, so she's strong here. She is moving backwards. That's what the retrograde means in red, that the planet is moving backwards. This is food. And it's businesses. This is corporations. Capricorn energy can be government, but corporations and food and the price. And we also, Capricorn energy, associate what we're building. Capricorn's all about what is being built. What are we building? And everybody knows about the pier that the United States erected. I think it was the United States, at least that's what I heard from Beau. There might have been some help from other parties that were local, of course, in cooperation. A big part of that is, if you look on this chart, we've got Saturn retrograde and Neptune retrograde. But even before these retrogrades began, which is why I've got all these red arrows to show this is all retrograde energy, Nessa has been conjunct Saturn, and Nessa and Saturn were conjunct, right? While that whole pier thing was happening, Nessa got closer in numbers. The pier got erected, and now Nessa and Saturn are together. And it's like, oh, Lord. So we'll see. I'm going to continue to watch what happens and how it all works out, and see if there's other workarounds to get supplies, medical supplies and water and food to people that are literally experiencing an intentional famine. Really, really inhumane and sad. What sign? Women and children, a mother and her child, Cancer energy. Absolutely. Mars. We got Mars here at 19 degrees. 19, which means previous to this day, previous to the 5th, because Mars moves 4 degrees within a week, 4 degrees within 1 week. So the 7 days prior, right, Mars was conjunct the 14 degrees. And that matters because even though the sun and the moon weren't sitting at 14, what was? Sirius was. Sirius. Sirius always sits at 14 because Sirius is a fixed star. They give the name a fixed star because it moves so slow. It doesn't look like, it just looks fixed, like it's not moving at all. So Mars and Sirius were sextiling, which means action. Mars is action. There's sextiling, which means there's an ease. Sextiles bring an ease of some sort. Okay. So an ease with the public. Something's happening. It's Mars. It's in the relationship energy. It's in diplomacy energy. It's in the bridge energy, literally. If we were to say Libra energy is the bridge, wow, interesting. Soldiers, because Mars, but it doesn't have to be limited to soldiers. These can be also people who work for somebody else, who take action. It can be police, anybody who can carry a weapon. Just has this aggressive and assertive and military vibration to it, but with the values. So it can be food, it can be necessities, it can be values. We think, yeah, the values of the planet, whatever those values are, right? All the different commodities, all the different treasures of the earth. There is a sextile to this new moon. Now, I am hopeful with the interest rates. I know for June, there was news coming down the pipe. We were getting reports of less jobs created. We were getting reports of manufacturing down. And even though that sounds horrible, because, well, if less people are working, that's not a good thing, right? Like, as human beings, you and me, the public, the Joe Schmo, in our minds, we're like, we're supposed to be working. But here's the thing. When the Fed looks to cut interest rates, the workforce is a very important barometer. They will not lower interest rates if jobs are still being created. Once jobs are no longer still being created, another way of saying that also, and it's not the exact same thing, but once they start to see the unemployment rate go up a little bit, then that says, okay, because it's a reflection on the layoffs. Then the layoffs are a reflection on the businesses. So when the businesses have to pull back, you see, demand died down, and so the businesses have to pull back. Anyway, there's a lot of levels to it, lots of layers, but we were started seeing those reports by the end of May going into June. And June's charts looked like that the July interest rate thing and the decrease of it, it's a possibility. It's a higher possibility than it was before. Let's be clear. They could still say, well, we're just going to hold rates for where they're at. We want to wait another couple of months for the following reports to get confirmation of this. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because I am not an economist. And so for any of you here who know more than me, which could probably be everybody, I am more than open to hearing your opinions on this. But to me, Mars takes action with the values, and Uranus is an authority figure. You see? So Mars will catch up to Uranus. Some would say that they're already conjunct at this degree. It's a possibility because Mars is at 19 and Venus is in Cancer, and that's a sextile to Venus. You see? Mars at 19 is in a strong sextile to Venus. Venus is at 22. Venus is the money, is the interest rates, you see? And the housing market being an issue, being a concern. And the public's feelings, the public sentiment, the public feeling like, what is going on? If our economy is doing so well, why do we feel like we're spending so much money? Well, ask the corporations. They are making banner CEO bonuses. They are hitting and going beyond all their goals. Like, they're doing phenomenal. Jupiter is at 9, and it's conjunct Aldebaran here. Jupiter at 9. There's a point of victory. This is a lot. I'm sorry. Yeah, an Arabic lot, a point of victory. There's also a part of success at 9, right? And then Aldebaran's at 10. Because we have so many things here, we have 3 objects here at 9 degrees. I want you to think about Sagittarius energy. I want you to think about the 9th house. I want you to think about beliefs. I want you to think about Supreme Court and justices. I want you to think about judges. I want you to think about religion in politics. I want you to think about extended education in college. I want you to think about foreigners, foreign lands, foreign language, immigration. Like, this is all that. Jupiter, 9th house. Think of freedoms. Think of what is true and your search for the truth. It's in Gemini. So we're going to learn how to discern. We're going to keep on learning. This is a process. And, well, learning how to work the internet for some, step 1 is a thing. Some people don't know that everything that's on there is not true. Some people don't realize that they must think that there's some like grand authority over the internet that says, well, because you posted something not true, you are completely kicked off the internet or you are completely sued. No, you can post anything online, right? Even on a YouTube channel, for sure. Absolutely. You can post whatever you want. You might not get monetized, right, for lying, but you can post whatever the heck you want. And even for those channels that are monetized, I'm going to tell you, the ones that make buku money, YouTube has a way of looking the other way sometimes. So you just really got to do some of the work to figure this out and to understand that Jupiter and the beliefs, it can be very persuasive in Gemini energy. It can also kind of exaggerate. It can bend some of those rules, but it's going to show you all the details because that is Gemini energy. It's a focus on details. It throws all the details. It collects the data. And that's actually kind of a good thing. So if you are open to hearing the details, meaning if someone's saying, this is the truth, this is what it is, show me the facts, show me the receipts, where's the data? So you're looking for authenticity, authentication of the information from reliable, credible sources. And being at that 9 degrees, searching for the truth. My ideas about freedom and justice, the ideals, my ideas about religion and spirituality. Challenge of beliefs is a big deal. July 5th, new moon time, 5:58 p.m. And that's in my time zone, Central Time Zone. So adjust for where you live. It is the 8 hours before the new moon, the 8 to 12 hours before the new moon that is considered the hours of power. So you light that candle, you do whatever you got to do, whatever works for you to set your intentions for your life and what you want to bring into it with all those Cancer keywords. Remember, emotional stability and home and family. And some of us, we even think my country. All right, guys, you take care. See you in the next one.